All right, people, you know the drill. It is time for the drop. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruben Dominguez. That's Quinn Bishop. We are at Cactus Music World headquarters. Gonna a little bit different of a show again.
I like this.
A little different.
This is, you know what it reminds me of? You know the Amoeba Records, What's in Your Bag?
Yeah.
It's very much like that. It's
right.
like, what is in
right.
Ruben and Quinn's bag? Like,
exactly.
We just randomly select stuff from around the store.
Just run around.
Just
stuff,
talk about
stuff you like.
Stuff we like.
All right, man. I think you have the honors.
I think. Well, let's talk about in-stores first.
Oh, yes.
We got on the first weekend of February. We have a couple of great events. We're letting you know about early here on the 3rd at 3 p.m. Saturday. We have Jane Woe here, and this is a terrific record featuring Scott Ayers, Carol. Are
you blanking?
Well, I know her as Carol Sated, but there's a suffix name there as well. But anyways, they had this brand new record on Sauce Tex Records. That's the guy from Hickoids. It's Jeff.
Oh yeah, okay.
And it's his label, and it is just a cool kind of countrified, funky. It's going to be a good time. They've been gigging quite a bit, and we're happy to have them on the Cactus stage for free. You can enjoy a cool, refreshing St. Arnold beverage, and then the next day, the return of the Mathletes. Joe Mathlete and the Mathletes are going to rock the record
Very
store
cool.
Sunday at 3 p.m. And I think they have a big show that Saturday night at I think they're playing at White Oak Music Hall with Swimwear Department, another super fun band. So that's going to be like
a good pairing right there.
Night of quirky pop.
Excellent pairing.
And stay tuned. Watch us on our socials. Sign up for our email, and you're going to see a lot more in stores happening at the store. We're very excited about this.
I love it. All right, so
who's going first?
I think you have the honors, my friend.
I'm going first.
I want you to go first.
Okay.
All right.
Let's kick it off. We're talking about one of my favorite records. This is the Finn Brothers record from. We got remastered in 2000.
Oh, I remember when that came out.
Yeah. So this is after Crowded House kind of folds up, and it's just Neil and Tim Finn making a brothers record. It's very lo-fi. It's very kind of home recording, kind of funky thing, but the songs are brilliant. Harmonies are terrific, and I love this when they remastered it. It came out with a whole nother disc of demos, additional 10 tracks. Including some of the Woodface era, one of the great Crowded House records. It's Only Natural, Weather With You, and 4 Seasons in One Day. And this thing was audiophile vinyl cut. Sounds terrific. It's 1995, but I like this. Ed O'Brien from Radiohead.
Yes.
He said, this is the record I most needed at the time I most needed to hear it. So
I love
obviously meant something to Ed, Radiohead drummer, and kind of weird sleep face, right?
It's perfect for you, though.
All right.
It works.
And that's my first one.
It works perfectly for me.
What you got?
What
you got in your bag?
It's really funny because I was talking about this album to a friend the other day. This is the Steve Miller Band, and that is the Sailor album. And if you only know like Steve for the big hits, this is one of those records that a friend of mine who was older than me, but in high school he had it.
Yeah. And
we would go over to his house because it was like the hangout house.
Yeah.
And he kind of inherited from his older brother. And it's not super rockin'.
No.
Songs are great, the lyrics are great.
It's kind of psyche, kind of bluesy, kind of like all over.
It's a weird little album that I think sounds very little about like the Steve Miller that's known.
The cover's super cool.
Yeah, the cover's fantastic.
It's like they're shipwrecked.
And it's one that like to this day I can still just put it on front to back. I don't have to skip a song. Produced by the mighty Glyn Johns,
of course,
who worked with
Who,
name it,
and everybody.
everyone.
And for those that don't know where he got his start, the guy next to this guy, it's Boss Skaggs right
good,
there.
Yeah, good
Boss
one.
Skaggs, like great.
They went to the same high school, right? Dallas,
school.
Texas.
And they were booking
that?
gigs when they were like 15. They would have them call when their parents weren't there so they could answer the phone and schedule gigs. Like
that's great.
They'd have to talk in a deep
That's
voice
great.
Like that. Yeah.
That is cool.
Pretty funny.
All right.
Pretty
there
funny.
we go.
Hey, I'm going to keep it kind of 60s too.
All right.
I'm going to talk about this band that I think people are
that's
generally
good. Yeah.
familiar with. This is a San Francisco band, Moby Grape.
I think a lot of people know the name probably more than know the music.
And they're kind of legendary, but they don't really have any big hits. They're known for being the best band that didn't or couldn't or
that wasn't the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, so I mean, very very cool kind of hard rock blues influence, but out of San Francisco, and they were supposed to be the next big thing. And man, they just did everything wrong. They had bad management. They thought they were going to be funny with this little thing right there, and that
didn't work.
Torpedoed.
Did it really?
Oh man, Columbia Records pulled all support for the record, but this record is great. Has the killer song "Hey Grandma" on it, and it is. You got one of the greatest rock and roll weirdos, Skip Spence, is the drummer and also wrote a lot of lyrics on it. And he made one of the kookiest, weirdest solo records everywhere. There's Skip. Wait, there he is. And but you should hear this record if you like 60s hard rock. It really is kind of a missing link record, and if you like that stuff at all, it'll make sense to you. It's really good.
Take this man's word for it. I'm just telling you right now. It's high praise from my man Quinn Bishop. All right, something more modern, but what I love about this album is that the minute I heard a song and I heard Sturgill Simpson's voice, I had to find out what it was, and I'm really happy that I did, because I loved old country music, and I had completely lost interest in the bro country and all that bad stuff. And this guy was such a, I don't know.
He pulled you back in.
He pulled me back in. The songs are amazing. His vocals are amazing. I can't remember the name of the guitarist on the first album, but just what my God, it's just absolute monster guitarist.
And I think a lot of people had the same experience you did, where he's the guy that kind of pulled him back in and got him interested in.
Yeah.
And then there were a bunch of artists that came after him that are very relevant, that are banking now because of Sturgill's kind of kicking down the door a little bit for him.
Yeah, 100%. This is a great album.
That's his debut record.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I don't know that there was a single or a hit, but You Can Have the Crown's probably the most the best known track. It's amazing. If you never heard it, go get it.
Yeah, and every record by him is different.
I was reading an interview or something. He said that he kind of had this design in his mind. He's like, if I get signed and I can do what I want to do with my albums. He had 4, right? It was a cycle of 4.
So there's the first one's kind of folkier country. The second one's straight up country. And then the third one's it's like a soul record, and then a hard rock record, and then a bluegrass record.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's do it all.
Yeah, well, hopefully we hear a lot more from Sturgill Simpson in whatever incarnation.
You know that he said he retired.
That's what I'm saying. But I think he retired as Sturgill Simpson. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in some traveling Wilburys kind of situation with other pals of his.
Popular music has a long history of people that have retired. How many farewell tours
has the Eagles done? Have the Eagles done? They're still on one. They're still on one.
Okay, I'm picking a. All right, let's talk about this.
This is interesting.
Matt Berry,
love him.
This is like I guess it was the 10th anniversary of. He had a breakthrough record called "Kill the Wolf." You know him as an actor. You know him from Toast of London and now Toast of Tinseltown. You know him from what's the vampire show?
What we do in the shadows. Yep.
He is incredibly funny.
Funny as hell.
He is really, really funny. He also makes great records. And this one,
I don't think I've ever heard any of it.
Oh, this one's really good. It's kind of he's obviously an avid record collector, because it's definitely a lot of 60s and 70s rock stuff, borderline psychedelic kind of folk. He's a fantastic singer. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of
plays piano too, right?
He plays piano. Yeah. He can play it all. And incredibly talented guy, writer, musician, great actor. I love Toast of London. I mean, I geeked out on that during the pandemic, just watched all of it, but he's terrific. Printed
on blood splatter vinyl.
That's what you want. That is what you want.
Fantastic. I love it. Yeah, I did. Somebody had told me that, he'd done some he had some stuff out there, but I wasn't really like aware of it or hadn't heard any of it. I'm trying to think who else. So there was another comedian that somebody was telling me about, had an album, and they were like, oh yeah, you should hear his band, he's amazing. And I'm like, but who the heck was it? I don't know.
Well, Matt has made a bunch of records. It's like
I need to write
he's
things
got an
down.
alter ego.
I should carry a notepad.
You need a journal
with
baby.
Me.
You need a journal.
Yeah, I should carry a notepad. Okay, moving along. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I think we've definitely talked about this band, but I don't know that we've talked about this record specifically. So, unless it was reissued, was there a reissue of this, or
we
a
did
40th,
talk about the reissue,
or was it a 40th? Doesn't matter. I can't see this record and not pick it up or put it on and listen to it. If it's in, if something happens in just my normal day and something related to the cars in this album comes along, I have to go listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's their third record, which is generally regarded as kind of like a big miss. But I love this record top to bottom. In times, it's almost kind of Devo-esque. They really kind of venture into that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think Touch and Go is Elliot's maybe his greatest guitar solo.
Could possibly be his greatest guitar solo. But I mean, he shreds it on so many different things,
And the album, the graphic is so cool. Look at this. I mean, that's just like.
And I saw this tour. I think you did too. Did you? I saw it. Was it the Summit?
No, I saw him for Shake It Up. Shake It Up, fourth album. Yeah.
And it was just. Oh, this was the first Cars tour I saw. That's it. And I just remember sitting there, like, just not even believing that I made it to this concert to see this band that I was obsessed with, and they were fantastic. All right, so sorry if that was redundant.
That's good. We're geeking out.
If that was redundant, but
I
do love me some Cars.
And now for something very different, I'm going to talk about Houston native Johnny Nash.
Very nice.
I can see clearly now. Everybody knows the single. And really, the single, you can say, arguably did more for the popularization of reggae music than anything to that point.
Okay,
it is like the biggest chart. And before that, you had the Israelites by Desmond Decker.
Great.
A few 60s songs popped on it, but that song, everybody knows that song. It's got one of the greatest middle eights of any tune. But what you might not know is the album, top to bottom, is terrific. And he was, while living in London, he really got into reggae music, and he was sharp enough to hire the Wailers to play. So it's actually, when you hear this, when you hear him do Stir It Up, it's the Wailers.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense.
But I mean, everybody kind of thinks of that song as being, obviously it's one of the greatest songs of the 70s, as being kind of maybe a one-hit wonder thing. The whole record's great. Find it; it's out there, and this is good summertime music. And Johnny, and I think he lived his later years in Houston.
He did.
He came back
absolutely.
To Houston. Did you ever talk to him?
My former colleague Jose Grignon was friends with him.
Oh, cool.
And he would sometimes go out to the house, and he would always tell us some stories about them. But yeah, man, kind of a local treasure, and obviously national known artist.
And you can say that is one of the biggest songs of all time. That's like one of the biggest songs of the 20th century.
Yeah, 100%. This is so cool. 1972.
Yeah,
wow.
Check it out. It's a good record.
Nice. Perfect. Wait, here, that goes in your pile.
That's my pile.
What are we doing? All right, it's my turn. I just listened to this whole album driving back from Arlington, and it's great start to finish. It's Steely Dan. I mean, what do you need to say? This is such a cool album. It's just all their albums are cool, but I really like this one. Very early on. This wasn't their first, was it? Was it the first release? I don't think so.
I don't think
so.
But
man, it's just so, I don't know. It's just so cool. And
we know all those songs from AM radio as a kid, right?
Yeah, of course. And it's just a great one. If you don't have any Steely Dan in your life, this might be a really good place to start, because their time, I always think of Steely Dan as like, their timeline to me musically makes perfect sense. And whether you start at the beginning, you start at the end, it's still Steely Dan. It's just, they didn't like, oh, this is our concept album, what Steely Dan would sound like in the eighth dimension or something. You have to put on special glasses to listen to this.
No, they don't, and they don't have like the. I mean, they're smart that they only made a record when they were ready to make a record. They never really rush. I mean, you look at the 70s, you had artists like Elton John that made a record every 6 months.
Yeah.
They did not do that. They made a record when they were ready for it.
And people and musicians came in this band regularly, and Donald Fagen liked it that way. And there was never anybody who was just middle of the road that played on a Steely Dan record. This is always the best of the best of the best.
You know who was their original drummer? Do you know this trivia?
Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Yep, you called it. You know what? One of my favorite.
That was a guess.
Moments?
No,
that's you have to know that.
Yeah, I know.
I think one of the best Steely Dan related moments is in "Say Anything," the Cameron Crowe film.
Yes.
When the dad is driving down the road and he's singing "Ricky, Don't Lose That Number" and
yes,
that, like terrible.
Yes.
I love that scene. That's a great scene.
I saw a live. It was a live. I don't know what it was. It was live somewhere, Hollywood Bowl. I don't even know what year it is, but Jeff Skunk Baxter's in the band, and they go to the solo, and he's just
he's a crazy player,
killing it.
And his solo record is called "You Can't Sit Down."
Is it really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
He always plays sitting down.
Nice.
Always plays sitting down.
I did that once, and I'm like, why don't I do this more often?
Yeah,
but my leg was hurt, but so I had to. Anyway,
you had to sit down.
I had to sit down.
You had to sit down. Okay, I got a weird one for you. This is the 1969 album from Bobby Darin. This is Commitment. So he had his
heard
own.
Of this.
So he kind of flipped out and went rogue there in the late 60s when he had a huge run as
in the 50s.
In the 50s through the 60s
right.
as a obviously singer, performer, songwriter, music publisher, and he just kind of hit that. He got swept up in the Bob Dylan,
gotcha,
Tim Hardin kind of folky thing. He made a couple of records that were really peculiar records where he was kind of living off the grid by himself, and he made these records, and this is one that's been really, really, really hard to find, but it's cool. It's rewarding. He's a great singer. It's him doing kind of more the folkier side of things. I really dig it. It's cool that it's back and people can find it. That's there's two other records that are easy to find. This one was on his own label, and it's pretty dang near impossible to find. But he does Sugar Man on it.
Wow!
And again, it's just kind of a folkier, funky kind of thing.
Good.
And that's this is one of the weirdest biopics ever.
Yes,
the Kevin Spacey film. If we're allowed to say that Kevin Spacey's name anymore.
I think we are. Yeah, I think we are.
But weird biopic. But if you're looking for, if you think of Bobby Darin and Splish Splash or
back in the doo-wop days,
Beyond the Sea.
Yeah,
this will change.
This will yes,
yeah.
Forever
change.
Changed. All right. See, Quinn handles the deep dive. I just snorkel through the music.
Oh yeah.
First cassette tape that I ever bought.
I like your style.
And I got a cassette player, right, that you connect to your parents' stereo back in the day, because I didn't have my own. I was quite young, and I went to
this isn't a Walkman.
I want to say it was like CNC Music. I can't even remember what it was.
CNC Music.
Yeah, it was one of these things at Sharpstown Mall, and I bought this on cassette.
I used to buy the bricks of blank tape at CNC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Make your mixtape-a-palooza. Anyway, I don't know what if you don't know, I don't know what I can tell you.
I kind of feel like you don't like music if you don't have this.
But record. I will tell you, produced by Mr. Roy Thomas Baker, who after this record produced,
I don't know, Bebop Deluxe,
first record of the Cars. Yeah. They flew to London to work with him.
And he definitely has a sound.
Everything's on here, man. Just put it on, listen to it, start to finish. You're going to have such a good time with this. I I just listened to it the other day, and my daughter was in the car, and Seaside Rendezvous came in, and she goes, "Dad, what is this?"
What is
I said,
this?
"This is
Yeah.
Queen."
I mean, that's the beauty of this record.
And it all works. And it all works.
Stylistically, it is all over the place,
It
and
all
it
works.
chills. It
Yeah,
takes you somewhere.
yeah. You know, Love of My Life, Good Company, You're My Best Friend. You know, it's all great, man. It's Death on Two Legs.
Little song on that, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody, yes, appears
Kind of
on
a-
that.
kind of a-
You've heard it in many movies. Yes, right, right. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, let's talk about a record from around about the same year. I'm looking 70, 73. What is that?
Go.
Is that 74?
This one? Yeah. What was this?
We're right in there. We're right in the pocket.
Does it say? It doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
Okay.
Okay, so this is really one of this is Todd Rundgren, A Wizard, A True Star. This is the record that followed his huge record, Something Anything. This record, he really was way out there on. You know, he got the die cut cover. This is a reissue on blue vinyl, I think, but you know, it is just such a weird hippie dream of a record. It's very long. It's like 58 minutes, which
Wow.
which that's groove cramming. It definitely affects.
That's really stuffing it in there.
It affects the sound quality. In fact, a lot of the reissues are split into two. But I think the thing you need to know about this record, you know, it doesn't really have a monster hit on it, but to me, so much of the Prince was hugely influenced by this record. And then you skip forward, and the indie rock stuff, in particular of Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Even, I mean, the artwork, the music, everything. I mean, no.
So you're telling
No
me
slight to Kevin.
they grew up listening to this as well.
I think they just, it resonated. Maybe they caught onto it later, but it definitely resonated with them. And I hear that. This is one of those records that was never huge, but wildly influential. And if people were influenced by it, you hear that in their work. And
Well, he is a master songwriter.
and boy, he knows how to twiddle.
He knows how to
knobs.
twiddle knobs, and he's not bad with the guitar either.
That's for true.
Good choice, brother. Good choice.
Yeah. I feel like we've been like hanging around the 70s here for a
and
little
we're
bit.
gonna stay there.
We're staying
And we're
there.
gonna stay there, man, because that's the record. So the story behind this was, it wasn't actually this record. It was Desolation Angels, but I really wanted to go to this show, and and that tour happened. I was in junior high, and my mother was not about to let me leave the house to go to a concert.
I had the same exact experience. Like I was dying to go to that show, and my parents were like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And then the next
No.
day I had to suck it up with everybody wearing their Bad Company t-shirts. I was so pissed. You know, I mean, come on, Paul Rogers, one of the greatest rock and roll voices ever. Simon Kirk on drums, Mick Ralphs on guitar, just a brutal.
And
Genius.
Boz on bass, the fretless basses. That like this is the most tasteful use of like fretless bass on a record.
Excellent point. And the cool thing, I was listening to one of my YouTube channels that I follow, Tom Bukovac. I've mentioned him many times on the show, Nashville Session Legend. And I wanted to say it was him and Dan Huff sitting around in his studio, and they talked about like the 5 greatest guitar sounds ever recorded, rock guitar sounds, electric guitar sounds. And one of them was actually Mick Ralph's guitar part on Foreigner 4. Right? Because it was Mick Ralphs went to Foreigner. Yeah, he did, right? I have this wrong?
No.
Never mind then. I screwed it up.
We'll just erase on that.
Are
We'll
you
edit
sure? So who went to Foreigner?
Mick Jones.
Mick Jones. I had
From
my
Spooky Tooth.
I had my mix wrong. Anyway,
A lot of mix in
but
the
still,
UK.
killer guitar player, amazing songs.
And every
sorry, Tom.
tune was on, like you heard every tune on
Every
FM radio.
every song was a hit. You know, I mean, Can't Get Enough of Your Love. That never ever stopped playing. Ready for Love. It's playing somewhere right now.
Moving on.
Oh,
That's a great one.
monster track.
Yeah, and of course, and Mick Ralphs comes out of Mott the Hoople too.
See,
So
why did I get my mix all mixed up?
it's easy to do.
It's easy to do. There's so
It
many
is
of them
easy
out
to
there. At
do.
least I didn't say it was Mick Jagger.
Or is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay, I'm throwing in a Beatles thing because people always seem to really like it when we throw in a Beatles thing.
Yeah.
And what I have here, this came in. We purchased this huge collection of like, I don't even know. There's like 200 Beatles 7-inches in there. And this one's really neat because I think people forget that the Magical Mystery Tour was originally released as a double 7-inch in the UK because the other singles.
Was it really?
Yeah, because the other singles were already out there, and then they cobbled them together to make the LP in the States.
Right.
So it's really
so. This one says second press.
This is the second press.
So what's a first pressing go for?
I mean, they sold. They're a
lot of them. So
it's probably like a $60 item. If
okay,
it
all right.
But the thing is, these things are a little kind of fragile and don't. And the difference is if it's got the blue lyric sheet, then it's a first press.
Okay.
If it doesn't, if it's got the white one, then it's a. But
second.
It's basically like a book, and the 7 inches fold in the side here, and there's your Parlophone 45 RPM.
It's crazy.
Wait, hold on. I'm not on the screen.
There you are. There you are. Get
45 RPM logo, and it's cool. This is like it's a side loader is what they call it because the records go inside. And there's the famous illustration of them as wizards. I always liked that. I always thought that was cool. Yeah, amazing. And then here's the book that everybody knows from the LP, but it says it was packaged with scenes from the film.
That's so cool.
I'm the Eggman.
Yeah.
With the where's the picture of? Oh, there they are. Look at those guys. Hey,
just another day at the office.
Where's the photo? Where's the photo that I love? Oh, this is the lyric sheet. I thought. Hold on. There it is. Spaghetti with it served with a shovel by John Lennon.
That's amazing.
It's a lot of spaghetti.
That is a lot of spaghetti.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're
great pick.
If you're
never seen this,
never seen it, yeah,
nope.
It's and I always like this. The side 2 is I am the walrus, but if you see it says no, you're not. It says Little Nicola. So
very cool.
Cool little Beatles curiosity.
Very, very cool. All right, so I have the last record. This is as far away from the Beatles as you can possibly get. This is absolutely another dimension. It's Mötley Crüe, Too Fast for Love. Don't know why, but this album just made me feel a certain way when I heard it.
It's a crazy guitar tone. Yeah, I love this record when it came out. I did. For me, it's kind of all about that first record.
Yeah, and the story goes that Mick Mars, another Mick, and I have this one right, hated that sound. Like when they heard it back, he was like, "We can't put that out," And the label kind of rushed to just get it out there, because they were already kind of making waves on the Sunset Strip and selling out shows and doing all that. Because it was
on this leather label, this like little.
Yeah. And but anyway, I mean, the record opens with Live Wire, and you pretty much know what's coming right after that.
Yeah.
And for all his craziness and nefarious and I guess criminal activity aside, Tommy Lee's one of my favorite drummers ever, period, hands down.
He's great.
He is on my Mount Rushmore. There's something about that dude's kick drum that, much like Bonham could swing in the more metal side of things. I think Tommy had that same thing. He could just groove like that, and it's Vince is Vince, and Nicky holding it down, and the rest is hair metal history, man.
So here's an interesting thing with this cover that I'm gonna share with you. So this is what happens, now that we're like 30, 40 years away from when these records were originally manufactured. You'll notice that when they redid this, they did it to make it look like it's a distressed album cover. You get some ring wear up here.
Okay, all right.
There's some bends and all that, and they make it look like the cover's like kind of bent up on the back.
Right.
And do you know why they did that?
No.
Because the resolution of the artwork, it was probably scanned from like a CD, because they had discarded the artwork back in the day.
So they had to make the whole thing kind of fit.
They had to make the whole thing kind of fit it.
Yeah,
So everything's getting small. Think about this. From the LP days, everything keeps getting smaller.
Right.
It keeps getting smaller to CD.
And if you don't have the original artwork.
No one predicted that we would be buying that they would be making or that people would be buying these things again. And so much of the artwork storage and
Yeah.
maintenance of artwork for record companies, it's a nuisance. It
Yeah.
costs money.
Yeah, they clean out the warehouse.
So the photos of the band on the back are a little fuzzy.
It's in a
Little
landfill.
fuzzy.
It's in a landfill somewhere.
It's a little fuzzy.
Well, there you go.
That's a fun one.
And just like everything else, if you've never heard it, go hear it. You're gonna dig it. All right, man. So that does it. Let's see. Next week, more new release. We get back to new releases.
We're back to new releases.
It's more
next
the
week.
usual
Look out.
show you're used to.
We just had to wing it.
We had to wing it.
One. We had to throw one in there to keep you guessing.
And don't forget, keep checking Cactus on social media for upcoming shows, or just keep it tuned to the drop. Is that it?
Oh yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Peace. We're out.